Great Plains 18-year-old, the 2022 Canadian Whiskey of the Year. Hey, my whiskey people, Mark Coppin for WhiskyWhistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, Winterpeg, the center of North America, bringing you the 2022 WhiskyWhistle Canadian Whiskey of the Year, and that is Great Plains 18-year-old, a very interesting release, high proof, and a really, really interesting story. Let's get some of that poured here for you in my new Wonders of Whiskey professional whiskey glass, which seems to also be known as the 1920 Blenders whiskey glass. Anyway, I don't know if they're exactly the same. I think they follow the same design. They may be made from different glass makers, so I'm not too sure. If you're in Canada, you can get these from craftworkspirits.com, who graciously donated this to WhiskyWhistle. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. All right, so Great Plains 18-year-old. First of all, this is 109 proof. They actually put proof on here. This is Canadian, and they mentioned proof. So I think they're trying to capture maybe some of the American market. This is 54.5% ABV, 17 years old in original casks, probably refill casks, refill bourbon casks, and then a finish time of 12 months on top of that in brandy casks from Jerez, Spain. Now, you might think Jerez, oh, that's where sherry's made, and yes, it's true. But some of the grape the wine production goes into their brandy business, so that's pretty cool. Finished casks, 22 finished casks, a total of 828 cases, probably cases of 6, I would guess. So it gives you an idea of the number of releases. And this is from batch number 1, and it's bottle 01385. This is a bottle that we had at the Winnipeg Whiskey Club last summer for our badass bourbon barbecue, where we also taste some badass Canadian whiskeys too. All right, so here's a tiny little bit about this, and then we'll get into the color of the whiskey, the legs of the whiskey in my new glass, and then the nose, the palate, and the finish. Neat. Then with water, and then give it a WhiskyWhistle whiskey score, which I'm sure you know is going to be a good score, but please stay tuned. All right, so here is Great Plains Craft Spirits, a little bit of information here. We are a small craft spirit company based in Calgary, Alberta, that creates innovative world-class Canadian whiskey. Our releases are made in small batches, in limited quantities, and are constantly changing. The product you are holding started as pure corn mash. Pure corn mash probably means 5% malted barley. That is a legacy of the old Potter's Distillery in Kelowna, BC. Its unique deep flavor developed, blah, blah, blah. After 12 months finishing, blah, blah, blah. We then blend and bottled at cask strength with no chill filtering and no added coloring. So that's really great to see that on Canadian whiskey bottles. You already see that on some of the single malts, but on something that is a kind of like a traditional Canadian whiskey, that's really nice to see. So I'll set that down. Let's check out the legs of the whiskey. The color, pardon me. All right, so let's check out the color of the whiskey. What do we see there for color? A nice mid-gold, maybe even 24 karat. It might be a little bit beyond there. Pretty nice color for a Canadian whiskey that was probably matured in refill casks. Just to look at it myself. Oh yeah, definitely beyond 24 karat gold. Not quite as dark as the copper pot still I have right here, but getting there. Okay, and some legs. What do we have for legs here? And I don't know if I can actually get really good legs here with this professional whiskey glass, but let's give it a try anyway. Round and round she goes. Okay, let's see here. Can we see some legs? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we do. Now, the curvature itself is going to slow things down a little bit, at least from the vantage point of your eye. And again, I'm not sure if you can see that very well in the light here, but medium speed first legs, The second legs are starting to trickle down. They're a little bit on the thinner side. Keep in mind that strength. Also, the probably relatively gentle casks wouldn't add a lot of stuff except for those brandy casks. Beautiful. Okay, we'll get into the nose, but first of all, make sure you subscribe to Whiskey Whistle. That little emblem is right over here. And then hit the bell, ding ding, so that you're notified of future Whiskey Whistles. And if you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out, why not jump in and check me out on Patreon, patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. And you can donate a little bit of money, whether it's per month or a flat sum once and done. That would be a big, big help. You'll get your name in the credits at the end of each video. You'll also get advanced viewing of future Whiskey Whistles. And last but not least, you will be able to earn yourself a Whiskey Whistle Glencairn glass once you have reached the threshold for support. So hopefully I'll see you there. Here we go. The nose for Great Plains 18-year-old brandy casks. It's very buttery, and you can definitely get a sense of the corn-based spirit. And it's quite similar to, let's say, some single grain Scotch whiskies from Scotland, where you have, again, 95% corn or wheat, 5% malted barley. So it's very light, very bright, very fresh, very crisp. I can already tell it's going to be a very crisp whiskey. All right, some nice fruitiness. A little bit of a mint slash like butter toffee. Like Werther's, but also like mint if you were to put them together. And for Canadian whiskey lovers, you might recognize this as a rye whiskey. But in fact, there's no rye in here whatsoever, I don't think. I think it's just corn and malted barley from what they have stated. Yeah, so light, fresh, crisp, a little bit of Werther's, what are those called? Caramels. Is it a caramel? Is it a toffee? Whatever it is. A little bit of mint and a little bit of generic fruit. Okay, time to get into the palate. Cheers, everybody. And a big thanks again to Craftwork Spirits and to everybody. Sorry about the delay. I got home from a trip with my family, and it took me a while to unpack everything. So there we go. It's like the top 10, top 5% type of single grain Scotch whiskey that even if you're not a single grain Scotch whiskey lover, you're like, yeah, this is good. Bourbon lovers will enjoy this, as will straight corn American whiskey lovers. And the fact that you get a little bit of corn silk tea, a little bit of Quaker corn cereal, whatever that was called, tells me that even if this was distilled in a column still, it wasn't done so to the nth degree, turning it into essentially Everclear or neutral grain spirits, grain neutral spirits type of thing. Okay, one more taste. Light mouthfeel, very crisp. The finish, however, is very long. It's dry, fruity. that mint and toffee, that little bit of generic fruit, like juicy fruit, maybe not quite as sweet, maybe more like a berry sugar. Now, this is a fantastic glass for high-proof spirits. I can really control the size of my sip, so I'm pretty happy with that. Very buttery. And a little bit of sweetness on my lips. Quite tasty. Okay, let's get a little bit of water in there. About half a teaspoon, 2.5 milliliters approximately. And we'll just shake it a little bit. Not too much, Ralphie. And get that mixed up. Then we'll let it settle. So, you know, when I think about Canadian whiskey and craft whiskey as well as cask strength Canadian whiskey, we're talking the last 6 years of seeing regular cask strength whiskeys hit the market. So that's really, really fantastic. And I applaud Great Plains Craft Spirits for doing that. That's really, really fantastic. And I know they tend to sell out of these. Excuse me. So check in with your better retailers and just ask them if they can get you in some Great Plains. And maybe you can pre-order it, or places like Kensington, you can request it and they'll try to get a bottle in for you. So, all right. So with water, what do we see here? A lot more of the caramel, a lot more of the fruit, a little bit less of that minty note. A little bit of the top of creme brulee. And a little bit of well-roasted Korean sweet potato, the koguma. The exterior where it totally caramelizes into a brown, sticky goo. And it's the best smell and taste ever for a vegetable or starch or whatever it is. All right, you can hear Rocky upstairs. He's with my youngest daughter, May. Yes, just more of this delicate fruitiness, fruit sugar, fructose, berry sugar. More of the Werthers. A little bit of honey throat lozenge coming in there. That's that mint still in there somewhere, but sweetening up. Okay, the palate with water. Cheers again. Well, I had to bring him down. He was being too noisy. Rocky, can you say hi to everybody over there? Say hello. And would you like to smell some Great Plains Canadian whiskey? How does that smell? He turned away. I don't think that's quite his thing. You want to try again? No, he doesn't even want to look at it. Well, it doesn't get the Rocky approval. Let's get him down. There we go. Up you go. Okay, so again, with water on the palate, let's have a look-see. A little bit of soda fountain 7-Up syrup. Slightly lemon lime, a sweeter lemon lime, a candy-like lemon lime. We still have the vanilla in there. vanilla caramelly type of flavor. A little bit of ginger. With just a little bit of water. It takes away a lot of the dryness, but leaves everything else bare for you to really enjoy. And I think that this could be described as the zenith of traditional Canadian whiskey. Now, it's not blended. That's a bunch of casks made the same way from the old Potter's distillery. So it doesn't have the rye whiskey from the same distillery and the bourbon-like whiskey from the same distillery, then blended together like some distilleries do. So you're getting a slightly unblended, modern whiskey lover's take on a traditional whiskey. But you go back 18 years, there were no single malts except for where is it, Glen Breton. And the whiskey that you could get was almost always 40% with a few small exceptions. So this is just mind-blowingly great. Final sip here. That fantastic lemon lime syrup, the caramel that's still there, sprig of mint, a little bit of generic fruitiness, delicious long finish. And this is really about everything that you want in your typical traditional Canadian whiskeys. So delicious. All right, I want to break that. On to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Great Plains 18-year-old finished in brandy casks. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 92 out of 100. You heard it, 92 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Great Plains Canadian whiskey, 18-year-old with 1 year, one of those years in brandy casks from Jerez, Spain. So just fantastic. I hope you can get that. This needs a hug for sure. Canadian whiskey hug. And I love the buffalo theme on the front there. Oh, love those buffalo. Bisons, as we like to call them, or bison. Well, I sure do hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel right over here. Check me out on Patron, as I mentioned, and we will see you for the next one right very soon. Goodbye now.